Okay, welcome back to our Python programming beginner class. Okay, so for in this video we'll be going through the lesson 3. Okay, so this title it is titled as Let's Talk with the Program. Okay, so actually technically we are not talking with the program, but we give some info to the program. Okay, just to make it clear with you guys. Right, so first of all, we are going to use something called user input. Okay, so up to this point of the lesson, um, alright, so I will open a new file, a new project for now. Okay, so one of the functions that we are going to use for in this lesson, the one of the main function in Python, is called the input function. Okay, so this is the code that we use usually for the input. Right. So program input is what enable us to most program to receive and return a value to the user. Okay, so it's kind of like how calculator works. Okay, where we need to insert the value inside of the calculator, right? Insert the equation in for it to solve and return back an answer to us. Okay, for us. So another example that most of us have been using all this while is the logging in to a social media or online game account in general. Okay, however, it kind of like have a bit of different mechanics behind it, but that one will be explored in another lesson. Okay, in future lesson. All right, so let's start with how to use it, how to use the input function. Okay, so when using the input function, we kind of need like something like the variable to store the data. Okay, so for now I'm just going to use something like a name. Okay, name and then input. Okay, now when you use the input function, usually inside the bracket you will need to inside the bracket will be the part that you ask the question to the user to insert the data that you want from them. Okay, so for like this one, because I use the name as the variable, so I'm just going to ask the username. Okay, so what is what is your name? Okay, so I think it's like this is okay. Or also you can just change it to enter your name. Okay, and then some space so that when you give the answer, you are giving the answer it's not that too near each other. Okay. Okay, now that you have the input function, now you have the variable. Okay, now let's print the data out. Okay, print name. Okay, so you can do it like this. Okay, so my name is Haziq, and then it will print out the name lah. Okay, but if you want to be more fancy or like more creative, you can also use combine it with concatenation. Okay, so like this one. Okay, I delete first. Hello plus wait. Okay, and then a plus name. Okay, oh, wrong variable name. Dot it's better to put in a dot. Nice to meet you. Okay, so when I give the Python my name, okay, and then it will then print out my name along with the concatenation over here. Okay, so Haziq, and then it will print out hello Haziq, nice to meet you. Okay, so this is how the basics of how to use the input function. Okay, but do bear in mind that the input will only be stored for that particular run only. Okay, for the time being, because this one is just the basic. Okay, so meaning that once you have clicked run over here, okay, finish, you have given the name, then you run, it will ask you again the same thing. Okay, so it won't store the data, won't store the user data inside. Okay. Okay, so like most of the statement in Python, you can also have multiple statement here. Okay, so for example, this one I have the name, so how about we add another one for the age? Okay, for my age. Okay, so same thing, input, inside, enter your age. Okay. Okay. And then because the first statement here, the print statement here, only print the name. How about we add another one to for the Python to tell us how old are we? Okay, so now print, kind of similar. Okay, so you are, comma, and then age. 8 years old. Okay, so when you print it like this, usually it will print out in the same sequence lah. Okay, so if you have the print hello name first, then when you print it over here, let's stop this one. When you print it out like that, okay, it will print exactly as the sequence over here. Okay, so first is here the name, and maybe around your age. Okay, okay, see over here it will print out the hello first, and then it will tell you the your age. Okay, and also I have a little problem over here. The 25 and the years is near each other, so let's go back to the code and do some okay, now you have this code. Okay, okay, and also all the variable can be used multiple time inside different statements, so don't worry about using the same thing over and over again, right? Okay, next we are going to build a simple calculator. Okay, alright, so we're going to have to I just use the same base. Okay, if you want to make it in another file also can, like this one. Okay, I'll teach you how for a bit. You go to file, new, and then you either click the file over here or the Python file. Okay, but I just use the new file, easier and simpler. Calculator.py. Make sure to have .py at the end. Okay, so that it tells the system that this one is for the Python and not for other programming language. Okay, so inside the calculator you can use either file, okay, because this one just a simple one. Okay, so we're going to create a calculator, simple one, num1. Okay, so you'll be using the input. Okay, enter a number. Okay, and then we copy paste this one. Then click on number 2. Okay, enter another number. Okay, Alright, so we have two variables that will ask the user for their input, okay, for what number they want to use. Okay, so next one is result. Okay, so this one, the third variable will be result, which will involve the equation that you want to use. Okay, because this one is pretty quite simple and not that complex calculator. For now, it can only do one operator at a time. Okay, so for now we can just do it like this: num1 plus num2. Okay, and then last one will be print result. Okay, so the equation that can be used can only be changed inside the result variable. Okay. Okay. Alright, so enter number 25 for example, and 30. Oh, what happens here? Why is the number here becomes 25 30 and not 55? Okay, so why did this one the calculator give this answer to us? Okay, alright, so the reason is number is one of the many types of data that can be used in Python. Okay, because it is a data type, Python will by default consider it as a string, okay, when you type in the code. So that's what happened with our calculator. Okay, so because both number is considered a string, when the plus is used, okay, the plus symbol is used, it is considered as a concatenation, okay, and not as the operator for the equation. Okay, so the only solution for now is that it is calculated like a calculator is by converting the number from a string to an integer. Okay, so for those that don't know, integer is basically a whole number. Okay, any kind of number from 1, 3 to -5, -10, 20, and so on. Okay, a whole number. Okay, without the dot, without the point. Okay, so what we need to do is just by adding this function. Okay, go to your result, in the result, and then in front of the variable you type int and make sure you give the bracket for the num1 and also num2. Okay, so this in function or integer function here will convert the user input as an integer. Okay, from string into an integer. So yeah, so you just use the int at the start. Okay, like this. Okay, now try running it. We try run the calculator again. So 20 plus 25 will be 45. Okay, see, you have the answer. Okay, so whenever you want to use a number, you want to use the input from the user to have the number, make sure to use the int function. Okay, so because this one is integer, is a whole number, what if you want to use a number that have a decimal point, like maybe 3.14 or something? How about we try it first before we go further? Okay, now this one is called this one we try 3.14, and another one is like 25, or a whole number. Okay, so this one will give you the error code. Okay, value error, invalid literal for int with base yada yada. Okay, invalid literal for int, meaning that this number that we use over here, the 3.14, is not an integer. Okay, so any number, any decimal number used when using the int function will not be processed by the Python. Okay, so what you can do with this one? Okay, so if you want to use a decimal number, you can actually use this function. Okay, this function is called floating number. Okay, so floating numbers are number that have decimal point in it. Okay, numbers like 3.14, 2.154, and like -2.86 or something. Okay, so in Python they just call it as float number. Okay, or float. Okay, now still in the same calculator. Okay, so for the int, let's replace it with the float. Okay, we change both of the int to float. Okay, now let's try again. 3.14, 20.2. Okay, now you can get the answer. Okay, when you use the float. Alright, so what's the difference between float and also integer? Okay, both of the function. Okay, so they are actually similar, but float can process both integer and decimal number. Okay, like this one. Okay, just that when you get the answer, usually they have the 0.0 at the back. Okay, but it doesn't affect anything. Okay, so actually we recommend to use float for most of the time that you are using a number from the user. Okay, but when to use the int function is when like when you are sure that the input or the data you use only involve for a whole number. So like when you ask the age or the registration number or even your IC card. Okay, your IC number. Okay, so if it involves both of the number, both kind of number, just use float for most of your program. Okay. Alright. Okay, so now that we have done our calculator, we finished our calculator over here. Alright. How about we change the answer section for a bit? Okay. So based on this one, this line, print result. Okay. The calculator will just like directly give you the answer, and it kind of like maybe boring for some because you just get the number. So what if you want to add some sentence before or after the result? Okay, so you can actually use it like normal. Okay, you can use the concatenation like normal. So let's create one. Okay, the result. Not result, the answer. The answer for that equation is, make sure to close first. Okay, and then plus. That's okay. I think no problem. Supposed to be okay. Why this happened again? Okay, so this one goes back to the string problem. Okay, so when you are using concatenation, only strings are accepted. Okay, so because the answer in the calculator here is already converted into float in the code, it cannot match with the string. So now you need to convert the float back to string. Okay, so for this one, you actually have two ways to do. Okay, so the first one is by directly in the print statement in the result variable, this one. Okay, you just add str and then another bracket, Okay, now you can print it. Okay, maybe just a simple number. Okay, then you get the answer. The answer for it is 237.1. This is the first method. The second method is by creating another variable called answer. Okay. Okay, and then str. Oh, where's the equal? Str result. Alright, and then so because this one is another variable, okay, so this variable will convert it inside here lah. Okay, it will convert the result into a string in the answer. So now we need to change the variable over here. So change it to answer. Okay, this one will how it will look. 20.1, 1.4. Alright, so now you can get the answer. Okay. Okay, so that is all for this one. Okay. Now, what I want you to do for your task is, okay, I will just maybe I want you to think of how to use the variable over here, how to use it. Okay, so okay, wait. Alright. Okay, so as you can see over here, your task is using the input function as our base. Okay, our main mechanic. Create a code that will ask the user questions, which will then be combined to form a sentence. Okay. So create two variables for the question. Okay, so you have two questions. So one is about the weather and the other is about the place the user live in. Okay. And then for the print function, write the concatenation for strings and variable, so it will form a complete sentence when printed. Okay, so like in this reference I give you here, or the example here as a reference. Okay, so these two, what's the weather and where are you at is the variable for the question. Okay, so I will only have these two data, a bit cold and semenye. Okay, this one will where the user live lah. Okay, so I want you to combine it so that it will look like this sentence. The weather is a bit cold in Semenye. Okay, I combine both of the variable into a sentence, into a concatenation. Okay, so that is the task for this lesson. Okay, make sure to submit and you will get some ad coins. Okay, the ad coins I will specify in our assignment section in the website. Okay, so that is all for lesson 3, talking with Python, talking with program. See you again in the next lesson.